planner. So like it freaking sparks my anxiety when you realize like everything that you had envisioned for your life is not what it is. So, you know, you feel pressure, like how you said that you don't give a fuck like what anybody gotta say. I'm still learning to be like that. Like I'm 25 and I still care too much about what people say around me. Like people always, I feel like people like have a microscope on me and they're like, what is the meaning of me?
She sippin' Hennessy, need it all daily, I need 10 a week. When I do Mercedes, I need 10 of these. She give you the one, me pay her hard. She pour her heart away, I just remind her for myself. Said she is Scarlet crazy, but I bet she like them double C. But you ain't proud of baby, I mean,
hey guys, what's the Small Circle Podcast? Hey guys, welcome to the Small Circle Podcast, and have you noticed? There's not just three of us. There's four of us. And then I noticed something different. I just can't put my head on it. I don't know. Oh shit! It's the fucking mics! Oh my god, we got mics, man! Let's go, we got mics! Let's go, we got mics, man!
Last.
We got fucking mics,
Making
man.
moves, bro.
Making moves on the seventh. This is gonna probably be the 7th episode. And we got the mics. We all put money together to finally get the fucking mics. Yeah. Sorry for the bad audio on the last episode. Shit was terrible.
Yeah, that was rough.
That was kind of rough. Fucking dark as fuck. I don't know why.
But
it was
we did the upgrade.
But we did the upgrade. We got
blew
lights
up.
now. We got. Look, there's our new studios. A poster.
We got mics.
We got mics and shit. In the 7th episode.
And now
Welcome.
we got a guest.
And now we got our first guest.
So you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everybody, I'm Thalia. I am his brother.
My sister.
So
My brother.
I said I'm your brother.
No, I said my brother.
Thalia's Limes, but
Yes.
she has a different last name because she's happily married.
This is off to a great start.
She's happily married. Okay, but now I gotta ask you a serious question though.
Yes.
Let's get right
A
into
really
it.
serious, every question. How the fuck do you have 15K on TikTok?
Wow, I just jumped right into
Get
it.
right into it.
Oh, yeah, talk about the
Look,
pod.
so that literally came from one video that blew up. It was the video of me scaring my husband because that is what we do at home. We just scare each other left and right. And overnight, it like ended up with 500,000 views. I was not expecting it. TikTok, I was not expecting nothing from it, but it was actually really
That's
cool.
so like weird to hear from like my husband. Like,
Trust me,
in my
it's
head.
still weird, and it's almost been 3 years, and it's still weird to say.
3 years, and how long have you been there? Oh, can I ask that?
It's been about 10 years. So,
10 years?
yeah, with him.
That's crazy.
Yep, high school.
Dating and then 3 married.
Yeah, 3 years in December.
What made you want to start TikTok though?
I don't even remember. That's a good question. I think like I was watching something and I had seen about something about the app. And I was like, what is this? Like, I love social media. So I just downloaded it and I started it. And then I was watching everybody's content and I just got really into it.
And you just wanted to make
Yeah, and my first video was actually a reina. It was there was a trend going around of like, give your dog an egg and they won't break it. Like, they know that it's something you have to be gentle with. And she literally was treating it like a baby. Like, Jonathan would try and get it from her and she would like nip at him to not let him get it. Yeah.
Shout out Raina in the back over here.
Shout out to Jonathan.
Yeah.
For real, over there doing this thing.
Yeah, unfortunately he's not here.
So, so you went to college, right?
Yes, I did.
What
4
college?
years.
You was?
Alright, so I did 2 years at Palm Beach State in Boca. Then I did my final 2 years for my bachelor's at University of Central Florida in Orlando.
Shout out to the Knights.
Go nice. So yeah, that was
What'd you
my
major in?
criminal justice. Yeah, it was a very good field. It was really interesting.
Did you enjoy learning?
I did. The classes were really interesting, for sure. My professors were awesome. I did homicide. One of my classes was he was a homicide detective, my professor, and all we did was go over his cases that like he studied and he worked. So it was really interesting. Mm-hmm.
So, since you went through all that schooling and stuff, then why made you go into the military?
Okay, so here's my thing with school. I'm not gonna say I regret going to college because I don't regret it. It was a really good experience for me. It's the first time away from home. You know, like I became very independent during those 2 years that I was away. But obviously, my life took a change when I got married. I can't say it's him, but it was my decision too. Obviously, with being a military spouse comes a lot of changes, a lot of moves. So like when we first moved out, his first duty station was Fort Carson, Colorado, which is where we're currently at. And he deployed a few months after I got there. So we arrived in March, and then he left in June. So when he left, I didn't have friends there, I didn't have family, so it kind of hit me hard. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. I don't know, like, job-wise, how it's gonna be. So I'm very, I don't know what the word is, but I'm very just in the moment, like, whatever comes to my head. Yeah, like, whatever comes to my head is like, I'm gonna do it, like, fuck it. So that's how I ended up joining the military. It wasn't something I had been dreaming of doing my whole life. I actually always said I would never join the military. But I figured it was like my best shot at having my own path and being stable. So like, cause I'm never the type of person, I would never be the type of person to depend on my husband. Like, that's not me. Like, I've always been a firm believer of 2 household incomes. Those people that think otherwise, that's on, like, to each their own.
I mean, I get it, because you've been raised like that also.
Correct. Yeah. I've never been, I've never had the example of just being a stay-at-home wife and not doing nothing, raising kids. That's not how I was raised, and that's not my mentality. I like working, I like making my own money, I like, not asking for money from nobody. So that's why I ended up joining, and quickly, you find out if it's for you or not, and it just wasn't something that that I personally enjoyed.
But what about criminal justice? Like, you don't want to get into that world anymore?
So that was the thing, like, when you're in high school, you don't, I personally at least didn't do my research. I'm like, what are the steps to get to where I want to get to? I was just like, this is what I want to do. And I thought, if I have a degree, I can do it without having to do anything else. I wanted to do homicide. I love the whole, crime scene side of law, of the government stuff, and like, a murder, trying to solve like how it happened. But I never realized that before you become a homicide detective, you have to be a cop. And then before you even be, like, once you're a cop, you have to go through other, like, divisions, not just go into homicide. You gotta do first, I think it's like home invasion and robbery, and that's the whole different side of detective. And then you go to, like, cross-train with the homicide, section.
So many levels.
Yeah. And that was something that I never wanted to do. Like, I would not want to be a cop.
So you just regret your whole major, basically?
I don't regret it because it was an interesting major. Like,
yeah.
But I do regret that, like, it's a lot of time doing school for something that you end up not really going into at the end anyway. So that's the only thing that, like, I've learned now that you don't need to have a whole bachelor's degree to be successful. Like, my dad's a perfect example. He didn't go to college at all, and my dad's very well off. He's a hard worker, but he has no business. And then there's people that just do trade schools. I didn't really know much about trade schools back then. Like, I never really knew that was a thing. But there's so many things you could do that are just like a short 2-year thing, and then just go into the working field and build up and grow, like start from the bottom and grow in a company, and you can be super well off.
I think you got, during high school, you got like biased into the way of the college system, and that's what probably fucked you up also. It doesn't really, yeah.
Yeah, like me growing up, it was always like, okay, don't worry, your college is paid for, like you're gonna go to school. Like, I'm not gonna say that my mom and dad were like, you have to go to college, because they weren't like that with me. But they never really said, no, don't go. They were like, they never really opened my eyes to like, okay, look at everything that's out in the world. They were just like, college is the way to go. So I was like, okay, college, whatever. I didn't think of just stopping after getting my AA, because that would have helped me either way. Like, I would say at least get your AA, your general studies, like your general stuff. And then, that's what I would say. Like, at least get your AA, but it's not to say, like, unless you're 100% sure that whatever you study, you're going to go into it for sure, then a bachelor's isn't always, like...
But you're kind of bad, like, you should be, like, happy that's been like you're happy, like, fuck. I can't speak. You should be happy that your parents didn't force you to do it, because some people's parents force them to go to college, force them to get those 4 years. Yeah. So you should be happy that your parents didn't like force you into that, and they get that pressure, and that pressure may lead to like bad like mental issues and bad relationship with their parents, because that's something probably they don't want to do, but their parents, people, or like their family make them do it. So you should be happy that your parents weren't like that.
Yeah, no, I definitely, appreciate that they kind of let me spread my wings and fly. Like, most parents would be like, no, just stay here, like, stay close to home. But, like, I've always said it. If I ever did go to university, I always said I want to go to UCF. Mm-hmm. Orlando, I just love the city. I love Orlando vibes. So, like, when I got to live over there, I loved it. Like, and everybody always thought, like, oh, how is it going to be? How's Thalia going to be when she leaves? Because it was my first time away from home. My parents, everybody knows how strict my parents were when I was growing up. Like, I was the oldest person out of my friends group that had the earliest curfew. Yeah. So it was just, like, everybody thought that I was going to leave the house and be rebellious and forget about school and, like, not study. But no, like...
I can relate.
Yeah, so...
It depends how you're raised and depends on the person.
I really think it depends on the person. Sure, because I'm more of a chill person. Like, my friends would invite me to clubs and to go out. And, every now and then, of course, I would go. But that wasn't my priority. Like, I wanted to finish school as quickly as I could. So I got a job. I was working there while I was in school. And I finished. That's what my goal was. And I went and I did what I had to do.
Did you get that college experience? Like that so-called experience?
I feel like I did. If you talk to people that went, like my best friend Daniela, like if you ask her, she'd be like, no, she did not. Because more times, shout out to my twin. But more times, like I feel like I did because, I didn't go out as much as other people did around me. But I still had the pleasure and the luxury of saying, if I want to go out, I will. Like, no one was forcing me. Like, I'm not the type of person that's like, if you're going to make me do something. If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. I don't care what anybody got to say. So, when I wanted to go out, I would go out. And then if I didn't want to go out, then I would just stay home and just chill in my room, PJs, and pigging out, watching movies in my room.
So were you that popular kid in school, or were you the kid that everybody knew, but you just didn't hang out?
In high school?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was popular, no. Like, I knew, people. I had my friends, my group of friends, and I knew people, but it wasn't, like, I would say, like, everybody knew who I was. Like, no, I was a normal kid. Like, I wasn't, like, the weirdo. I wasn't the cool kid. I don't really consider myself anything. I was just very, like...
As long as you wasn't the ghetto kid, you straight.
Yeah, I wasn't the ghetto kid either. Like, no, I don't know what the hell I was, to be honest.
Were you bad in school? Were you good in school?
No. Well, what do you mean? Academically or what?
Like lifestyle.
Like, was you
talking about school?
Was you a hot Cheeto girl or not?
No, I really wasn't. It's weird because, I think it was just because I was so afraid of my dad. I was so afraid of getting caught that, like, I would never do anything bad. I skipped school one time. And that one time that I skipped school, it was for actually a normal reason. I actually called my mom and asked her if I could. So, because it was, like, my cousin's Wilmer. Yeah. It was our cousin's last day of high school. He's graduating that year. And, they have this thing where it's like seniors can leave early. So I ended up just leaving with him. But my mom, obviously, she knew. So in case the school called, she already had the heads up that I had left.
So it technically wasn't skipping because you
exactly. Like, I was skipping in the eyes of the school.
Yeah,
but, like, in mom's eyes, no.
Nah, fuck the school.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't, like...
And academically?
Oh, I was a perfect student in school. Yeah.
Bad.
I was a perfect student in school.
She about to put that little A plus on a roll shit.
A's everywhere.
I cannot relate.
Yeah, school grades for me were really important. And it's not because mom and dad would, like, scold me if I came home with bad grades. But me, personally, I took pride in getting good grades. Yeah. Like, I always got A's and B's. And, I wasn't doing all AP courses or, like, some of my friends were. But I took honors courses. I took some AP courses. And, like... I just like getting A's and B's. Like, B's to me hurt depending on the class. So, math, that's a whole other story. I hate math, but...
That's crazy.
Had no beefs in high school, though?
No beef, like nobody that
got a fight?
No, I've never been in a fight. The only time I've been sent home early, and it was like, people make fun of me for it, because you would think as you get older, you get worse. Actually, I got better as I got older. When I was little... In first grade, my dad had to come pick me up.
Oh, first grade. I was talking about high school. Okay, yeah. First grade.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's the only time I've done something wrong. First grade. No, I just was always taught, like, don't let people...
What happened in first grade?
I cursed the girl out.
In first grade? I said my first curse word in third grade.
I was playing with fucking building blocks and shit in first grade. What the
cursing? What the fuck?
I cursed the girl out in freaking first grade, and we got sent to the office because I made her cry.
But dude, she probably didn't even know what the words meant.
And you know what the crazy part is? It was over a boy in first grade. It was because she had a little boyfriend and we were friends, and she was like that, little kid stuff. Like she didn't want me being his friend, but we were friends. So she started saying mean things and like saying really inappropriate shit for a first grader. So like I came back at her and I said what I had to say, and then we got sent to the office. And I called my mom first because I was like, oh my god, my dad's gonna beat my ass. But I called my mom and I was like, I'm not dealing with that. Call your dad. So I was like, oh shit. So I called him and he celebrated it because I was defending myself. Yeah, I didn't start it. She did. So.
But how the fuck did you know curse words in first grade?
Because my dad's a psycho that curses. His vocabulary is not the ABCs. It's like fuck shit, bitch. Like everything. That's literally what his vocabulary consists of. So, you learn with what you hear. And plus, I've always been the type of kid, like even when I was little, all my cousins were older for the most part. And I liked being around them. So, like, I would hear how they would speak. And then I would just pick up on, okay, like, this person got mad over this word. So I'm like, okay, that's...
You just took some tips.
Yeah, you learn from what you hear. It's true. When you're a kid, you absorb shit. So like whatever you hear around you, literally, yeah. Look at Emily. She's 2 years old. My little cousin. I don't know where she heard this word. She heard hijo de puta. That's literally like a word that she'll just sit there and say, and she'll be like, "Don't say that." Yeah. And then we were all like, oh my god, like, Emily, you don't say that. And she'll laugh and she'll be like, hijo de puta.
We're talking about a 2-year-old?
A 2-year-old. So clearly,
Yes.
But I wasn't a bad kid in high school. Like, I never had any problems with nobody, especially with guys. I never had a problem with guys. But I was strategic, too. I didn't mess with guys from my high school. Like...
You always kept it out of school?
The only person that kind of, there was 2 people, but my main person in high school that kind of broke that for me was Jonathan, which is now my husband. But
It's the one.
it was him, but other than that, like if I was messing or talking to somebody or anybody, it was never in high school.
So, I mean, people say this all the time, but do you recommend to like date somebody out of your high school?
Ooh, I feel like it depends on the person. Me personally, I do. Because when you're in high school, you know how it is. The drama, especially like females nowadays are fucking crazy. I don't know. I feel like females have gotten worse now than they were back then when I was in high school.
They got more slicker?
Yeah, like they develop more of like the dude mentality. Like you didn't fuck me over, I'm gonna fuck you over harder type of thing. I don't know. It just be like that now.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Yeah. Maybe y'all think something different.
No, I agree.
But when I was in high school, I definitely did not want people in my business. I didn't want people knowing who I was dating, who I was messing with, who I was talking to. Just because you got haters. Like, there's always going to be people saying, hey, Thalia, I saw your man this weekend with so-and-so. And y'all all go to the same school. So it's like, you develop...
And you don't know who to trust either.
Yeah, exactly. You swear you got your friends, but like, I have stories of friends that have hit me and done me the worst than anybody else. Like, that's why I said, like, I guess the little saying is true, is keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Because you can't trust nobody, like, at all. Yeah. So I would say if you don't want people in your business and you want to keep low-key and you have somebody that you truly like and you could trust them, then it's better off that you don't go to the same school as them. Yeah, it's cute between classes, you making out with your significant other, but that's about it. Like everything.
It'd be cringy sometimes. Okay.
Go to class, G.
That happened to me.
Where your mask at? You got that corona, don't you?
That's funny. So you just said it depends on the person?
Yeah, it just depends. Like I was that person. I've always been very more so of the private side. Like.
I mean,
how about when you went to college? How was that? Like university, when you went to Orlando?
You just have a lot of drunk nights with moments that you regret the next day. So, it's just like that. Like, in college, you don't hear as much drama, obviously, because the school's much bigger,
there's fucking adults there.
Yeah, so. Exactly. We're at this point in our lives, we're all grown. So, like, what happens, you either get your feelings hurt or you don't.
Half the kids that can't go to high school, they just got out of middle school, so they're immature as fuck.
Right.
Yeah, they're growing into that stage.
In high school, I feel like it was when you really start to develop, like, your habits and like
And
your
your
character.
personality.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like for me, for example, I developed a lot throughout my high school years, and I learned so much throughout my high school years. And I think I'm like at a point in my life where like I know who I am, and I don't care what anybody says about me.
Good for you.
I just gotta keep that mentality throughout my whole life, because I really don't care what anybody gotta say about me, and I'm not gonna cause a fight over the littlest things, because I don't really care that much.
I'm still learning that. I'm not even gonna lie. So it's really good that you have that.
If somebody puts their hands on me, I'm still swinging either way.
Yeah, for real. I mean, that's self defense though.
Yeah,
But I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna like. I'm not gonna be like. This guy commented on my fucking page. You're a bitch. What you gonna do about it? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, fuck you. I don't care. I'm better than you. I don't.
You're talking through a phone.
You're
What
talking
do I
through a
say?
phone. Say it to my fucking face and see what
Exactly.
happens.
It's different,
Exactly.
Yeah, so you learn to not waste your time and.
I feel like you learn more. Like
Emotions.
I feel like life gives you more experiences than school ever
Yep.
does.
100%.
Oh yeah, because once you're out of school, it's like you either start losing people, and then you realize like your circle is mad small. Like I
Small circle.
there you go. There you go. You know, like I hope for you guys that like your friendship stays and remains, and it helps that y'all don't go to the same school as it is. So like it helps. But
We don't even talk to each other like that. Oh, probably through Xbox.
I was
But
gonna say y'all play every single day.
I mean, like I'm talking about like most of the group. We don't even talk to
Yeah,
each other, and then when we come back, it's like. It feels good to talk to each other again. Like it's not that type of friendship where you don't have to talk all the time.
But you know y'all still like cool.
Yeah.
We don't have to constantly
Like, you know
talk
you're
to
still
each
And
like-
that's the best friendship.
That is.
Yeah.
Because you don't get annoyed about each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally it's very true.
That's the game, man. Fucking motherfucker.
I know.
That is.
But I feel like it's gonna be hard to break us up because we basically been born together. We've been growing
y'all
up together.
especially, yeah, because and you guys' families are close. Like assuming the families continue the way they are and having their get-togethers and stuff, then you guys, there's no reason why you guys should like kind of part ways.
Unless one of us, like, God forbid, one of us moves again.
Correct. Goes to different. Yeah.
I mean, I'm staying my ass in Florida.
Yeah,
so.
me too.
And Lauda, too.
I love Florida.
Oh yeah, Lauda.
Florida's my shit.
I love Florida.
Yeah, I
too.
want
I'm
to stay in
just-
South Florida. I hate North Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tallahassee ain't it. I don't care what anybody can say.
I still got close friends up there, but I hate it. We live in the middle of nowhere. We had to drive like 30 minutes to clear Walmart for groceries. I wasn't fucking with it.
No way.
What was I say? So how was the transition from high school to like right after you graduated? How was that transition to the open real world where you were considered grown?
Oh, I'm hear this.
So here's the thing for me. I'm a little bit different when it comes to that because I've always felt like I hated high school. I hated high school.
You're not the only one, sister.
Yeah. But you know what the common thing that people will tell you, and I'm sure you guys have heard it, enjoy it while you're in high school. Once you're out, you're gonna
Fuck
miss
that
high
shit.
school. You're gonna
Fuck
miss
that
it.
shit.
I will tell you that is the biggest bullshit lie. If you hate high school, you hate high school. Look, I graduated in 2013. What, that was 7 years ago now? I don't even know. But you will never catch me saying I miss high school. Maybe I miss moments, like the cliques.
That's more
I miss
moments.
lunch, like, yeah, you
I miss
people.
pep rallies. I miss homecoming. I miss prom.
Yes.
I missed that fight that happened next to the bathroom.
I miss the fucking feeding us kids in the bathroom.
But it's not the general.
It's
time
not
of
high
4
school.
years.
Yeah.
No, like I don't miss
It's the
high school.
moments you
at all.
cherish from high school.
Exactly. It's just some moments I was like, man, like, you look back at it and you're like, oh,
Like,
you know.
damn, that shit was
I
fun.
feel
But that's it. Like once I got out of high school, I was like, shit, I'm free. Like it was like the biggest fresh breath
Like
of
your
air.
back is just like your carry on your back is on
Yeah,
yours.
it
It's
literally
free.
felt like it was the best feeling in the world. Like I already had a job lined up. My first job was at Justice, the little kid clothing store. So I started working there literally immediately after I graduated, and I started college that same summer. So like I didn't really get a break to just decompress. I just went straight into college because I was already getting tired of school, and I knew if I was the type of person who's like, if I stopped, I'm not coming back.
Right.
So I was getting tired of school. I was tired of crying all night, studying all night. Like I was over it.
I was at a point that I was like this, like close from fucking dropping out. That's how much I hated
That's how I was
school.
a sophomore year. I was so close.
Junior year, that was my point. I'm so done with this bullshit. Like I just couldn't. But
junior year was rough.
That was my
Junior
junior
year.
year. Junior year was rough.
My junior's going great. I'm passing home.
and like my dumbass decided to choose all honors classes, and my fucking U.S. history teacher fucked me in the ass with those 80 vocabulary words, like fucking 60 questions, like doing it in a week. I'm like, I was about to kill myself,
You're
bro.
never gonna see Steven Alojave in honors class.
I don't even know why I'm in those.
It's because you're smart.
I
You're
got
just
like 3
lazy.
classes.
Yeah, that's true. You have a big brain, but you're
Bro,
just,
no,
like,
those regular.
Lazy as fuck. fuck?
This is regular shit. Regular classes are like easy as fuck, and they suspect you to do good in honors, but no, it ain't the same shit, man.
Yeah. That shit whack.
Yeah. But
Like in regular classes, I get straight A's, man. I go to fucking
Yeah,
honors,
same.
I get like C's, D's, like what the fuck?
But how was like, aside from the college memories and all that shit, how was like what, did you feel lost after you graduated? Like, what the fuck am I gonna
you know
do
what's
now?
weird? I feel more lost now
Than you did.
than when I did. Yeah. Like, I feel like, you know, your 20s is a weird phase of your life where it's like, you're still trying to figure out your path. Like, some people already have it down and that's good for them, but obviously my situation's a little unique. And, you know, it gets me emotional when I talk about it because it's like, damn, like, you would have asked me, like, 6 years ago how my life was going to be. I would have never imagined my life the way it is now.
Yeah.
So, it's hard. Like, it's really hard, but, I mean, shit, it is what it is.
It's life.
It's life.
It is what it
Yeah,
is.
man.
It's the experience. It's the experience.
Life goes through one way, and then it can go through another way.
Yeah, you can't. It's like you can never expect the plan to go the way it's supposed to go.
And it sucks because I'm a planner. So, like, it freaking sparks my anxiety when you realize, like, everything that you had envisioned for your life is not what it is. So, you know, you feel pressure, like, how you said that you don't give a fuck, like, what anybody gotta say. I'm still learning to be like that. Like, I'm 25 and I still care too much about what people say around me.
Yeah.
Like, people always, I feel like people, like, have a microscope on me and they're like, what is Thalia doing with her life? You know, like, what is she doing for herself? And blah, blah, blah. So, like, I feel like I constantly have eyes on me, and maybe it's just in my head. Like, maybe no one even gives a fuck. But it's just me. You know, so it's like, it's my personal battle where it's like, damn, like, I'm not doing I'm not where I should be at the age I'm at. And then I gotta remind myself, like, look, like, you're still in your 20s, bro. Like, that's still young. You still have time to get yourself together and, like, get on, you know, like, what is she doing for herself? And blah, blah, blah. So, like, I feel like I constantly have eyes on me, and maybe it's just in my head. Like, maybe no one even gives a fuck. But it's just me. You know, so it's like, it's my personal battle where it's like, damn, like, I'm not doing I'm not where I should be at the age I'm at. And then I gotta remind myself, like, look, like, you're still in your 20s, bro. Like, that's still young. You still have time to get yourself together and, like, get on the right path again. But, you know, since I did everything right, I went to high school, I went to college, I went to university, I got my degree, and now it's like, well, fuck, like, what am I doing with my life? You know, it's like an awkward, like, that uncertainty and that unknown is scary. But
Man, it's okay. You're young.
Exactly.
You don't have
That's what I
to. You
said.
don't have to.
That's what I'm saying.
People suspect you to like have your life together when you're 25, but like nowadays it's not like that. So you just don't. Just don't like
You gotta
think
put
about
it at
that.
your own pace.
Yeah.
You die when you're fucking like 80 or 90. That's like how much? Like 60, 70, like 60,
70.
70 years. Like you have your whole life ahead of you. And I know you got married, but like right now you don't really have that much responsibility because you don't have a child yet.
Yeah.
So like right now you're just living free. So you should just focus on what you want to do. To be honest with you.
yeah, you know, it's just hard. Like, the thing is, like, you focusing on you is really simple when you're not attached to the military.
Yeah.
That brings a whole other level of uncertainty to your life that you didn't even expect. Like, yeah, you have your own personal, like, damn, like, what am I gonna do? You know, like, that's one thing. And then you add the military, like, unknown shit to it, to that factor and that equation. It just creates this whole, like, cloud of the unknown. And there's certain things that you can't control. So it just makes things, like, harder for you to kind of be like, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it, and this is what I'm going to do to get to that step. It doesn't work like that. Like, you know, it's just very... It has its challenges, you know, so...
So how's that like being a spouse of the military? What is your experience on it? Now that we're touching on that.
Yeah, my personal experience as being a spouse is... It has its pros. I'm not going to say it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, you don't worry about how you're going to pay rent. How are you going to freaking, I don't know, like, where's your next paycheck going to come from? Like, at the end of the day, you're taken care of, right? But then you got to deal with the mental aspect of it of you're married to somebody, but you still feel single. You know, like, for example, right now, okay, my husband is deployed right now, right? This is the third year that we're going to be married. He missed our first year anniversary because he was deployed. He was home for our second, and now he's gone for our third. So it's like out of the 3 years that we've been together, married, living together in our own home, he's been gone for half of that. So it's like imagine, you know, I can't imagine how the people that have kids deal with it. And, you know, I commend them and like I take my hat off to them because it's not easy to have kids and say that you have a significant other, but they're barely around. That sucks. No one wants to be in a situation where they're married, but they don't have their significant other to go to freaking parties with. To go, I don't know, freaking take a walk outside with. Like,
They just watch TV with them in the living room.
exactly. So it's like, for me, it takes a toll on me mentally. Because it just is not the life that I expected I was going to have. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, my life took a turn for the crazy side because I've been hit with all these different things that I wasn't expecting and I didn't see coming. So, you know, I don't know, like the military spouse like side, and that's another thing that kind of led me into joining. I was like, maybe if I join, it'll make me be able to spend more time with him, because then when he leaves, maybe I could leave. But that's not how it works either. So, you know, I learned that really quickly. So, I don't know, it's just hard, like as a military spouse, and it's harder when you're around people that don't understand.
We don't understand what you're going through right now, and I don't know what to say, to be honest with you.
You know, like it's just.
And when people try to put their input on it, I'm sure it's even.
And that's why I'm saying show right now, because I just can't. I can't.
You
I
can't
don't
speak on something you don't know about.
Exactly.
And like, I don't mind, you know, when y'all speak on it, but it's like when adults try to be like my favorite line. Well, you knew what you were signing up for when you married him. No, the fuck I didn't. I don't have experience in the military. No one in my family that I know personally and I'm close to has a military background. So like when people are like, oh, it's okay, like it's okay. No, it's not. Like, no, it's not okay. You know, like it's very frustrating when they're like, just do this, just do that.
Like if it was that easy, then you would.
Yeah.
And then that's what I'm trying to make people understand, when I'm like, if it was that simple, you know, everybody would make the same choices. But there's a reason why the military has the highest divorce rate. Because people get tired of it. And then what happens? Infidelity comes into the picture. You know how many people cheat in the freaking military? That's a whole other ballpark. That's a whole other topic.
It's like an ongoing joke in the military, probably.
Yeah, there's a reason why they have a whole fucking cadence when you're military about Jodies. The Jody is like the person that's taking care of your significant other when you're not there. That's not something they come up with just because. Like, it's because it happens. Like, I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people when they're away in basic training eating shit because, you know, it's not fun. It's not a good time getting yelled at for absolutely nothing all the time. And then you find out that the person back home is being taken care of by somebody else. Or when they're deployed in the freaking who knows where, like butt fucking nowhere, and they're back home, the significant other's back home, and you come to home and you find out that you got left because they got tired of the life and they just didn't want to deal with it anymore, so they found somebody else and left you.
It's crazy. It's a fucked up life.
The trust issues that comes with this lifestyle is insane. Like, especially when you put somebody that already has like a little bit of trust issues into the picture and you add the military to it, that shit sucks. So it's not a good time, like, at all. Pause the...
You good.
But
or something?
I think
yeah, they just got home.
Anyway.
So yeah. So
Hello.
Sorry.
How's your dad? Last episode was my dad. How's your
Nah,
dad?
my dad.
That's about to be my dad and mom.
Alright, anyways.
So yeah, so you know, it's just different. Like, it's a different world. It's, you know, and then the thing is, like, making friends is not easy either. You know, like, you never know who you can trust. And then the thing is, when you finally do make friends and you have to up and leave and move, it's just constant change. And, you know, there's really no way to prepare for that.
But at least we can relate to Jonathan because you've been through basic training and everything like that. So
Yeah, and he's been through basic training twice. So,
how come?
The first time he joined, you know, he hated it and like, he made the wrong decision. And, well, he didn't hate it. He's always loved the military. Like, he was just young and dumb, you know, like young and dumb the first time, and then he ended up having to redo it. And obviously because it was years later, like, there was a gap in between, so that's why it led to him having to repeat basic training. But this time it was a little bit more chill because the first time he did it was at Fort Benning, and that's like the infantry home. So, you know, it's a little bit different. But Fort Jackson, South Carolina, is a little bit more, they call it relaxing Jackson because it's not as bad. But shit, it was bad for me.
How was that experience though?
basic training.
It was crazy, you know, like everybody thought that I wasn't gonna make it because I'm such a girly, like
you're like cute, like
yeah, you know, like I'm super feminine and very girly and stuff. So, you know, everybody. I mean, I didn't tell anybody when I left, but like the people that I did tell that knew what I was doing, like my husband and my parents, you know, they were like, oh my god, like how are you gonna do the food? The food was the biggest thing because I'm such a picky eater. But everything else is just a mental game. Like, it's really just one big mental game. The first 3 weeks are the suckiest, and then the rest, it just becomes like, okay, like, it's just another day, you know? It has its fun moments, though. Like, the 3 weeks that we were at the range were super, super fun. That was, like, my favorite time of that. And then when we did obstacle courses, that was fun. But, you know, waking up super early to do PT in the freaking cold weather, and when we would get smoked, that sucked.
How was that? What's being smoked?
It's when it's corrective action. That's what they call it. And it's when you do something or like just because they're bored. I feel like sometimes we wouldn't even do anything and they would just smoke us just because they were bored. But
what would they make you do?
A crap ton of freaking exercises. We would do push-ups. We would do whatever the heck they felt like it. Like when we had our M4s that shoot out to us, what their favorite thing to do was put us in the squat position and take our M4 and pull the bolt back to the rear and keep it open like that, but have your arms out like this. And just be in the squat position until they said stop. And then their thing was like, we're going to sit here until I get tired. When the hell are they going to get tired if they're not doing it?
What guns do you use?
The M4.
The M4A1? the old reliable? For your Call of Duty guys.
You know what we're talking about.
What else do you use?
No idea. No, that's it.
M4A1?
That is just the M4.
You guys didn't have like a handgun or anything?
No, the officers are the ones that get trained with the handguns. I think they get the 9mm. They get the 9mm.
I don't mean to sound stupid, but how did they choose like? Is there like a in the military like how you get chosen to be like a sniper per se?
So for those special like trainings and like specialties, you have to actually have time in already and then go to school to be trained for it. But we've come to realize that like after Jonathan's been in for quite some time, that it's not as simple as just I want to go to that school and that's it. Like you have to have certain qualifications, requirements that they want, and then you have to have it approved by your higher ups. So that's when you're able to go attend to those schools. The thing is, not everybody makes it. Like if you don't pass whatever qualification test or course that they want you to do and you don't make it, then you just go back to your normal job and you don't,
For example, like the guys that went in the mission to assassinate Osama bin Laden, that's like a course.
Those are special ops people.
The special ops people.
Yeah, like those are people that, their training is very, intense, and very small amounts of people make it that go through those trainings, so they're like very prestigious,
And like that's the special ops. Like you suspect like that you may die one day, right?
They're more at risk. They're definitely more at risk than say somebody that's a medic, or medics also have their moments, but like someone that's just pushing like the paper pushers, like they're less at risk because we don't really do like it's not how you see it in movies, you go to get deployed and you're out there shooting people left and right, like that's not how it is.
It's nothing like Saving Private Ryan.
No, it's not like that because there's no war. Well, if there was like a serious war going on right now, we would have to go fight and everybody would have to be fighting. Then it doesn't matter what job you chose, like you'd be out there shooting. They always tell you, you're a soldier first before your actual MOS, which is your job.
And what was all that deal about, like, we were about to go to war, like, during January?
I don't know too much about that, just because I don't, like, as much as, I should be informed, I don't like to. Because it kind of, I'm the type of person that I get very psyched out by certain things. So, like, I don't like to know about things unless I have to. So, like, when I started hearing those type of rumors and whatever, like, I would try not to pay attention to it. And, Jonathan would tell me, like, babe, like, this and this and this. And I'd be like, yeah, like, okay, well, not much we could do, like, it is what it is. But thankfully, like, things are not so bad right now, like, where he's at and stuff.
Luckily, it did not happen.
Yeah.
So...
And where is he deployed at?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say, to be honest. For,
Yeah.
Like privacy reasons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And safety reasons.
Yeah, I don't remember if I'm allowed to or not. I
Let's
would
don't
say
talk
because
about
We don't touch it.
We don't touch it. I don't want to get
All you need to know is that he's out there.
And we're getting canceled by the military.
I don't think, like, it's really not that big of a deal deal because he's not doing anything crazy, but I just don't remember. You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't want the military coming from my head.
I think it's better if we don't.
Just don't
So-
say that.
I mean, y'all already
Anyway.
know where he's like, my family knows where he is
Yeah.
and he's okay, but I don't.
That's all that matters. That he's okay where he is.
Mhm. Yeah, he's
Yeah, that's all
perfectly
that
fine.
matters,
He's
yeah.
chilling. Like, he's been chilling.
Oh,
So.
shit. We about to
Anyways.
have fucking CIA put on some.
I'm about to say, everybody here just.
Ah, shit.
So,
Hey, this is your house.
How do you feel about Trump?
oh Lord.
Political. Let's get it. Political small circle podcast.
This is why I sit back.
Listen, this is a topic I hate getting into because I
All right, get
have
into it.
opinions.
We've been we bashed Trump so many times on this podcast that we can't even count. So
Well, here's the thing. That's why I'm saying, like, some people don't agree with me, and, you know, it's okay because, again, I'm not a political person. Like, I don't, you know, you would think because I was in the military and my husband's in the military, like, I would care, but I really don't because at the end of the day, my vote is not going to matter. And people say, yeah, your vote counts. I don't really think it does. But that's just me. I'm not a political person. I don't know nothing about politics. I don't really get into it, and I don't care.
Welcome to the club.
So, yeah. So, like, I don't really like speaking on something that I don't have knowledge on. But as far as Trump goes, as a person, I will say that I don't think he's a good person. Like, you know, I don't agree with his thoughts on just in general. Like, he's just a douchebag. That's just what it is.
that's just his persona, his
Yeah.
personality.
And he lives off of that because people feed into it and whatever. But, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say he's dumb. Like, he's a smart businessman, you know, like, he knows how to operate his...
But how do you think that translates into the presidential?
Like
Bro.
being a businessman to become a president.
Because that's happened in
influences
foreign
a lot.
countries a lot of times. For example, Ecuador. One of our past presidents was a businessman turned into a president. So that happens all the time. It's not unknown, like unheard of. But
So what do you
now
think-
it finally happens in the United
What do
States
you,
of
what do
America.
you think
So
about that transition?
I think it's important to have somebody that's smart in business because at the end of the day, they're a huge factor of how our economy operates.
stocks.
Yeah, like everything, you know. So if it's gonna benefit the country to be a smart businessman and, you know, help improve people's financial lives, then, you know, I think that's good. But him as a person, like, I wish his brain was in somebody else that was because you know, I don't like him. Like, I find him annoying. I find him repulsive.
And he can never answer the deep questions. Like every time somebody asks him about COVID, he always tries to dodge the question. So
We will get through this.
I don't know.
what about, how do you feel about, so since, you know, how do you see the difference between your high school experience and our high school, like
Oh,
the
wow.
generations
Like, yeah,
between?
the
the
comparison
generation
of
gap.
generations.
Oh, wow, that's a good
I
question.
mean, there's a big comparison because we're doing Zoom school now, but like, you know,
Yeah.
as
No, but
outside-
I mean,
outside of
like,
that,
social wise.
Yeah.
That's what I see. I see big differences. You
Like
know,
what?
like, I feel like you guys' generation is just relentless. Like, y'all are all trash.
Are you
I'm just
millennial or
saying.
Gen Z?
Huh?
Are you millennial, right?
I don't know. I was born 1995. I don't know. I was born in 95.
I think. I don't know.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But I just feel like you guys are just all trash. Like, I feel like this
Well,
generation
man.
sucks. Like, you guys treat each other like trash. You know,
That
maybe
hit home
just
right
back
there.
then.
And we're sensitive as fuck. We
Yeah, our
cannot take-
generation is really sensitive.
You guys are just so quick to act on emotions and do
Yeah.
some crazy stuff over the dumbest things like that don't even make sense. Like, you guys are so quick to jump into people's businesses. Like, I'm not gonna
That's
speak
true.
for everybody, but like just from things that I hear, you know, from y'all's age group, that I'm like, why? Like, you know, oh, so and so person. I heard so and so person. You know, this person got cheated on by this person. Did you know that this person's cheating on you? Like,
Story of my fucking life.
I'm just like, can't you just let people live? Like, you know, maybe when I was in high school, I just, you know, couldn't.
So that never happened through our high school? Like
I
during your
don't
high school
remember
years?
that happening, but only because, again, like, I didn't really mess with people like that. Like, I literally, my circle was so small, you know, and as I got through the years of high school, it got smaller. So, like, by the time I graduated, I only really had my one friend. That's my one friend that I have to this day. Shout out to my twin. That's my only friend that I have, and she's been my friend for, what, like 12, 13 years now.
And you have us.
And I have y'all, but, like, you know, we're different age
Yeah.
groups, you know, so it's just a little bit different.
One more year will be fine.
Yeah, no,
Nah, we gotta be 21.
y'all gotta be 21 to
To
be
go to
on-
clubs.
to
To go to
be
clubs.
and to
Clubs,
drink
that's
legally.
definitely-
We can't go to a bar and just have a drink.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That'll be the days. We'll be fucking young. We'll be looking grown as fuck. Going to bars.
Going to
shit.
bars.
And Thalia's still gonna be looking 12.
yeah, you're right. Everybody always tells me that I look like the youngest one between all of you guys, and I'm like, wow. Like I'm definitely the
I mean, out of our
oldest.
circle, we'll probably be the only ones to go to bars anyway. So
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But even with you guys' style, like back then, you know, the style that I remember when I was like, you know, in high school and stuff.
Big
I
ass
was,
pants.
no, well for
What?
guys
Oh, I was
maybe,
about to say.
but females like we have these things called Brazilian pants, and they made your ass look so nice.
Mm.
And those were the pants that we.
But people
all
still wear those.
Brazilians, really? I have
I mean,
never.
there's some
seen
pants that make the girl's ass look
Or it's like
Yeah.
tight
good.
at the top, like loose at the bottom.
Those
No,
are like
oh, I was about to say.
no, the Brazilians
They're, like, tight
were like
all
a
the way.
material. Like it was a material of the pants. Like it wasn't jean material, but it wasn't leggings. Like they were pants, but they didn't have pockets, so like your butt would just sit nicely in the butt part.
It's like cups. Like a little cup, right?
Yeah, it would like cover your butt so nicely. And then, you know, for me anyway, like we would always scrunch our hair. Like the females, we always scrunched it, and we would wear these headbands like right on the edge of our hair, and we would tie this little piece of hair back around our head. Like we would tie it, and then put the headband like right on like behind it. And we would wear these huge hoops with our bangles and like our nameplate necklaces and earrings and rings. Like it was just a different time. Like the guys, you
But
know.
I feel like even our generation matches that style.
Really?
Because people wear nameplates. People do wear them fucking bangles on their wrist and shit.
I don't think.
I think so. I
Our
think so.
generation is more like, I would say like
It's a mix of like edgy emo shit.
edgy emo shit. Yeah, for example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
street shit like you would be wearing.
Like edgy, like emo and street shit combined into one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, literally. It is, yeah.
And I kind of fuck with it, to be
I
honest.
like it too.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad style. It's just different. Like, guys, for us, you know, what's y'all's brand right now that's, like, in? Like, what is a good brand, like, also people your age and your...
There's not really a brand that's
Champion.
in.
Champion.
Yeah, champ. Like, we're not
Okay,
deep in
so
those.
champ-
We just wear stuff
Yeah.
that looks good, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
So, have you guys know what Bape is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
Bape
well,
is.
that was, like, the big freaking...
That's for hypebeast, though.
No,
Nobody wears.
I don't know
Nowadays
what
it
that
is,
is.
but
What's
back
that?
It's a sneakerhead term.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like maybe they were around, but the type of people I hung out with didn't really follow that. So like it was just different. Like I don't remember seeing.
Okay, I got you. Nowadays, people wear Vans, ripped jeans, or a hoodie. That's the basic.
females
basic
back
boy
then.
look.
We would wear shirts that had a tank top underneath it, and then a matching belt with the color of our shirts, or like our sneakers.
I know guys back then used to wear more like sneakers, like Jordans and Nikes and stuff like that. Like
the Air Forces.
The Air Forces, but people more like
They still are big.
low top shoes
Oh,
like
yeah.
these or Vans and stuff like that. Like low top shoes are like what's in right now.
Yeah, right
in
now,
this
yeah.
generation.
I feel like back then it was more high top.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like more Jordan, like
Like
Like-
Taylor type shit.
you don't see that much
was-
people wear
I was
Jordans that
into
much.
that back then. Like I loved matching my sneakers with my t-shirts and like you know.
Oh,
Now I
yeah,
just
Converse.
understand.
Converse were like what.
I never was got into Converse.
I got.
I like Chucks now, you know.
Yeah, I
but,
like-
back then, no, not really. But that's what it was, you know. Like and the thing is, like my high school experience was different, just because. If you ask me, like, did I go to any crazy parties? No. Did I go to any crazy, like, clubs? Did I ever sneak out? No. Well, yes, I did. But like, it's not like I snuck out, like, at a freaking... Like, y'all be sneaking out from freaking middle school. I'm in middle school...
I didn't sneak out some people in.
Listen, okay, that's just a
And
lie.
Steven snuck out.
Okay. I
For
was
some
doing none of that.
For some
No.
coochie.
I
He
didn't
sneaked
do
out for some
none of
coochie.
that till high school. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it was just like you guys are moving a lot quicker. That's what I think it is meant to
We
be.
grew up
Our
quicker.
generation grows
Y'all
up.
Because
We
you know
try to
why we
have
grew up
our
quicker?
own.
We know because of this.
Social media. Yeah.
Because of this. That's why we grew up quicker. For example, your
Instagram.
little cousin has fucking TikTok at her age of like 8.
Camila, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, facts.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't get a phone till 6th grade.
I got my first phone.
phone.
I got a phone when I was 12. You know what I got? A fucking
You got a
BlackBerry
real
Touch.
phone. You got an iPhone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I had a Firefly, okay? Like, and then my first real phone was a Kyocera. I don't know if y'all even know. The Kyocera was like the Metro PCS phone that you would like literally you would flip the top open and the little keyboard would but it was like this big.
That's what Tristan had.
Like Kyocera. So I wanted the back then the freaking Sidekick. That was like
No,
the
that's
in
what David
phone.
had.
But I feel like,
Never.
look, I feel like we can relate more to each other than people that was born probably 2008, 2009.
No, clearly.
Yeah, because like we like almost grew up in the same time frame of technology, basically.
Yeah, y'all did.
We
Yeah.
started growing up when it started upgrading.
Yeah.
When we started upgrading.
When it was starting to pop, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even get Instagram until I was I think a junior. If I'm not mistaken, I was probably a junior when it even came out. Because back then it was MySpace. I was big on my parents didn't know I had MySpace. I wasn't allowed to have no social media.
That was like the first social media ever.
MySpace was lit. I loved MySpace.
I grew over Facebook. I didn't go into Facebook because people had it. Like I was around like 10 or 8 when people had it, but I was never into the social media. I was always like a little kid. I was into playing video games, playing with friends, stuff like that. I wasn't really into the TikTok shit.
I got into social media when I was like 13. I got so in trouble. I could make a new account. New account.
Man got 7 accounts, 50 accounts. Nah, I was never into social media shit.
Yeah,
though.
you're
Like,
still
I
really
still.
not.
I got into social media when I got my first smartphone, which was around 8th grade, and it was like one of those blue like Android phones. And then I got my first iPhone when I was a freshman in high school. So I didn't really grow up with the social media. Now in my like teenager years I had social media, and like I'm surprised that these young kids are fucking TikTok, Instagram like at such a young age, and it's like it's fucking
not
dangerous.
healthy.
It's dangerous also.
Like right now I have an iPhone 7, and then I know kids that are like 6, 7.
The
that have
iPhone 11.
X's.
Like I wish I had that. I don't even have that phone. I have a fucking iPhone 6s that's been rocking since I started
My
high
first
school.
phone was iPhone 5S.
I don't even remember what mine was. I got it my junior year, and that was my first iPhone. I think I was a junior or senior, one of those two. Definitely was older, but I feel like social media damages a lot of more. So it does a lot of damage for girls, like young girls.
I think so.
If they don't know how to use it though.
Yeah.
But it's
If
not
they use
so
it in a
much-
toxic
why do you
way.
say it though?
No,
Like,
We cannot blame social media. We have to blame the people that are
Yeah,
using it.
too, yeah.
like in what sense?
Well, actually, no. I would say blame the people who are around, like in terms of like raising them in a sense. Because
We
you
gotta
also gotta put in
teach
their
them.
head like they can't like because that's kind of society like making them like you have to be like this, you have to dance like this, you have to look and dress like this.
That's what I'm referring to.
So the people you have to have the people around them who are like in their family in a sense. You have to kind of put that in their brain where it's like you don't have to be like this to be socially accepted.
And no, it's a sad part. Most of the parents cannot relate because they didn't grow up with
So
social
they don't
media.
understand, which is
Exactly.
why a lot of kids nowadays are kind of like fucked
Which
up in
when we become parents, which is probably gonna not become not too soon, but
But-
probably later in the
yeah.
years, we will be like the foundation of actually
Yeah.
raising our kids in the social media era.
Because we understand
And so
that,
we understand
how
that
we grew up
social
with it.
media is not life.
We
That's
actually
not your
experienced
life.
all this. We actually know what we're going to talk about.
yeah.
And we've been in the age where there was not social media and the age where there was social media. We don't remember it because we were young,
But we still live.
we were
Yeah.
basically raised into social media.
And the social media back then was different.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
it wasn't as pressured on.
I feel like with MySpace, it was more so about who had the cooler background and songs
Yeah.
than about what pictures and how you look.
Because you had to go into a full ass desktop to look at your so MySpace. We as
It's literally in our
Now
pocket. It's in our
now it's all
pocket.
about the follower count or
Yeah,
likes
how
or
many followers you have, how many likes are you
look,
getting,
what
how do you
doing
look.
on your post.
I feel like that's harder on girls. Like I don't know, maybe because I'm a female, I can't relate to how y'all feel. But like I know as a female, like when I see females on Instagram that look like perfect in my eyes, and you see all these guys liking their pictures, like damn, like you know, it kind of makes you. It starts making you feel like damn, like I don't look like that. You know, like it kind of gets to you, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't be a catfish either, please. Don't
Oh,
be.
I got catfished. I got catfished. I'm being so serious. I got catfished.
when
Alright, pause the talk.
It was bad. That was my you know the show Catfish. I literally am upset that I didn't come up with a damn because this happened well before the show even came out. Like it happened my 8th grade year into my freshman year. I fell in love with some guy that I met I met him through a friend. Let's say at the time she was a friend, right? That's why I say you can't trust nobody. But this person had introduced me to this guy, and I was like, oh, he's fine. Like, you know, and I've always liked older guys. I will say that. So I was 14. He was probably, I think, he was like, I was like 13 at the time because it was 8th grade to freshman year, and he was like 19. So I started talking to him, and this person was supposedly really good friends with my friend, and that's why I trusted that it was real. But I never saw him in person, and every time he'd be like, "Oh, like whenever we see each other, he'd be like, oh, I'm working, babe. Like I can't." Blah, blah, blah. Like okay, I was 13. I was like, okay, like, it's fine, you know. He never wanted to call me. He never sent me pictures, and every time he did send me pictures, the same pictures that I was seeing on social media. So I was like, okay, like send me a picture of what you're doing right now. He'd be like, oh, I can't right now. And then he would disappear for a while and be like, oh, I didn't have a phone. I'm like, you're a grown-ass man. You don't have a phone? But, like, at the time, I thought nothing of it. I got my parents involved because I was, like, really, like, digging this guy. And my dad's always been the type of person where he didn't care about the person. He just wanted to meet them in person. So, like, he was like, okay, like, you know, let's meet the guy. So when we would try and set it up, he would always come up with an excuse as to why he can't. And then my mom was doing her own, investigating detective stuff, and she had some friends look into some things, and this person wasn't real. And the only person that knew about this person was my said friend. And this lasted a whole year. A whole year.
Of just texting?
Of me just texting this person. I even got in so much trouble, and they took away everything, like my laptop, my phone, because I would go hang out with my friend and I would use their phones to text this guy because I was like obsessed with him. Like I was like in love with this guy because he would always said the right things. He wanted to marry me and whatever, have a family. And at that age, it's like, oh my God. Like, I found the one, and he was beautiful. He was anybody that knows me and knows my type, he was literally my type in a picture. Like he was tatted, he was tall, he was bulky, like he was nice and meaty. He had a nice haircut, he had a nice face, he was clean, and he had his piercings. And like I've always liked the fuck boys. Like, it was just that like I couldn't. And then I found out he wasn't real, and it just like my life shattered, like everything. I was ruined.
Her first heartbreak.
Because the way I found out he wasn't real is because he had a YouTube at the time, and I would watch his videos. So I was like, I know this person's real, but I just didn't know it wasn't him that I was talking to. So one day I reached out to
Why was he
that
catfish
account.
though? Was he not good looking, or was
No,
he...
it was catfish because it wasn't him I was talking to.
Oh,
yeah.
It was the female. It was my friend. Turns out that she was a fucking lesbian, and now she has a whole female with a kid, and to this day she probably hates my guts, and she will deny it. Like she never came out and said it was her, but she damn sure acted guilty.
That's crazy.
So she was a lesbian? Yes.
She was. Yeah, she is a lesbian now.
Shout out to you.
So, and like I hate that girl because she ruined a lot for me, and like my 8th grade year was pretty much like destroyed because I was in and out of trouble with my parents. And, it kind of ruined, like, my whole life because I was so pissed at them that they wouldn't let me be with him when it was just because he wasn't real. And the way I found out, me personally, because I didn't believe a damn thing that my parents were saying, was I reached out to the account on YouTube that had his videos. And, like, I messaged them, and I was like, this person's not going to answer me. But thankfully, they did. And they're like, oh, like, this person lives in freaking, I don't even know, Philadelphia or something. He lives in Philadelphia, and he was, like, a whole criminal, and...
Oh my.
He was a crib and all this stuff, and I was like, oh,
okay.
shit.
So good thing.
So I told him, I was like, so you don't know, and I asked him, I was like, so you don't know who I am? And they're like, no, like, and they told me, they're like, I'm so sorry, but you're not the first person this happens to. I was like,
What the fuck?
okay. So
I put the cherry on top.
that's when I realized, I was like, okay, like, that's it. That's case closed, like, it's true. Like, he's not the person I've been talking to for the past year or year and a half, however long it was. So it sucked. Like, that was kind of like my first real heartbreak, but it wasn't. My first real heartbreak is the person I'm married to. So, so that's what it is.
So you met the one at an early age.
Yes, I did.
How'd y'all
I was
meet?
15
Lucky you.
in school.
Damn, 15.
I was 15 years old. I'm 25 now, so that was 10 years ago.
I'm 7.
And we actually make 10 years meeting, like knowing each other this like next month in a few days. So in high school, I was a sophomore. He was a senior. I had a friend, Julian. I don't care to say his name because, whatever. But he introduced me to Jonathan because you know how in high school you have electives?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you guys in school, but like you're mixed with grades. It's not just...
Yeah.
Okay. So I got switched into art because I originally was put into like advanced pottery. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I can't be in this class. So they switched me to art, like art 1. And I walked into that class and I knew my cousin was in that class. Like, I was okay with it because I had friends there. And Julian was one of those friends. And then he walked in there and, like, I had seen Jonathan. And I was like, oh, like, I was like, okay, he's kind of cute. But then Julian introduced me to him. He was like, oh, like, come here. Let me introduce you to my friend. And you know what the craziest story or the craziest part of this whole story is? I had seen him the year before. I had seen him. But I thought he was the ugliest person I've ever seen in my life.
So did you have a glow up?
He grew up in like a matter of a summer because I had seen him when I was a freshman. I was in the cafeteria with my friend, and it was in the morning. He was there with his little posse, and I obviously didn't know who he was, but he had grills. He had like this 4XL t-shirt with his 2 wooden like crosses, and his hair was just long. Like, well, his hair wasn't long, but it was just different. Like, he just didn't look well kept.
Like a little Chico?
He looked, like that. Like he just didn't look cute to me, but... And he was really skinny, like really, really skinny. Super skinny. I'm emphasizing that. So then come sophomore year, when I saw him, I saw his face when Julie introduced me to him. I was like, I know you. So I was like, I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, I think this is the same person I saw last year, but he looks fine as shit now. So we met, and at the weekend, you know, Jonathan being the way he was like, oh, I'm going to Horror Nights this weekend in Orlando. He's like, if you want to come. Like, I just freaking met you. Like, no, I'm not going to Orlando with you.
Somebody shot real quick.
Hey, man. You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah, I was like, damn. But
You saw the future.
So,
Damn, butterfly effect.
It was just weird.
That's the butterfly effect.
Like, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I don't know who you are. I'm like, my parents are not going to let me go to Orlando. But I told them I didn't want to say my parents are going to say no. So, like, I was like, nah, I already have plans. Like, I'm going to Fright Nights, the one that we have here. So I was going to go for real that weekend with my friend. I was like, well, have fun in, you know, Orlando. I'm going to be in West Palm at the Fright Nights. If you decide to change your mind, you want to go to that one instead. He didn't ask for my number. Like, we didn't exchange information, nothing. But that night, her and I, my best friend and I went to Fright Nights. And we were on a ride. And then we got off that ride. And it's one of those things, I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm not trying to friggin' paint a pretty picture. But her and I got off the ride. And, like, the crowd was right there. And it was like, he was, like, far away. But I look out into the crowd, and it's like one of those things where it's like I saw him, and then he saw me, and we made eye contact, like, and then like, it was literally like one of those things. I was like, "What the hell?"
That's a scene of a high school movie, man.
Yeah, literally, like
it was just
true
weird.
love.
It was just so
And that wasn't
weird.
an amusement park.
They
Even
jumping
it all.
They lock eyes and like it's everything slow motion.
And
You
you
see
see
like
the
the background.
in the background.
Everything just. I was like, and I told Daniela, I was like, "What do I do?" Like, I was so nervous.
Man,
She
that
was
must be nice living off a movie, man.
like, nah, but it got ugly after that.
I mean, that happens to all the movies, so.
It got
But
real
hopefully,
ugly.
I got a happy ending, didn't it?
I mean, yeah, we're good now. You know, it was just
No, that's for the
nice.
sequel. After happy ending and sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Anyways,
So that's what it was. Like, you know, I saw him in the crowd. We made eye contact, and then like, he just stopped with his friend, and he waited for me to get out with my friend. We met up with them that night, and you know, we just spent the rest of the night with them. Like, she was with his friend, and I was with him. And then that night, he finally asked me my number, and he met Mom that night, like my mom, because my mom got there to pick us up. Like, he walked me to the car. I was like, "Who's that?" You know, because he had tattoos, and like, you know. It was just the first guy that I've been around that looked like that. So that rest is history. It's just that was how we met, and ever since that day, like the story started officially.
That's crazy.
a new chapter in your life.
So you saw this one guy in art school. You didn't even have no idea they were gonna be married to him.
And now
That's so crazy.
that is crazy to think about. Like,
No. Yeah, if
And
you would have
even-
told me
and
10
even-
years ago we would end up married, I said, "Pah."
And it even went from you thinking he was unattractive.
Who the fuck is
Yeah,
that? Whoa.
I literally thought he was disgusting. Like, he was so ugly. And it's funny because him and I laugh about it now. And he's like, yeah, well, look like where you're at now. Like, who got you in the end? I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because he was so ugly. Like, I was like, oh my God. He just looked like your typical, like, you know, dirty looking kid that just didn't care. He was just from the streets, and that's just what it was. Like, he looked like a criminal. Like, to me, I'm not into that. I like fuck boys, but I don't like criminals now.
Now. Besides now.
I've always had a thing for guys that look bad. Like, I like those bad looking guys. I don't like guys that look friendly. Like, I don't, you know, and that's the thing. Like, people look at me and they're like, you're so innocent. Like, to this day, people are like, I don't know how the hell, like, because Jonathan looks very douchey. When you first meet him, if you don't know him,
He looks like a fucking bodyguard at a club or some shit.
Yes, you know,
What's it called?
the jumper,
Jumper.
The bouncer.
the bouncer,
It's jumpers. That's a stupid.
the bouncer. Yeah.
Jumper.
That's literally how he looks. Like, he's not
Bouncers,
one to walk
yeah.
around like smiling. Like, he's just.
I'll be honest. The first time I met Jonathan, I was scared of him.
A lot of people get, you know, that vibe from him that it's like they don't know like how he's gonna react, that type of thing, because he comes off as like very just quiet, like mysterious, like.
Because like I was still young and he
Yeah,
was
you were
big
really
to me.
young.
I mean, I played volleyball with him at the pool. It was like,
That's what y'all first
That's how they met.
I was like, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
He's chill as fuck. Like he
He
does it cool.
is.
It's cool.
Yeah, he's not cool. He's just Jonathan. Like, he's one of those people it's either you like him or you don't. Like, there's
Yeah.
no in between, you know. And more time than not, people, once they get to know him, like, they like him.
Yeah, they catch his vibe and then like. Oh.
Yeah. Because he's not, well, back then, maybe people wouldn't have liked him. But now, the person he is now, he's just chill.
And That's cute.
Low-key miss my dog, man.
I miss that his fat ass hand gave me a dap up. Fuck out of my hand.
He's gonna be a little bit huskier when he comes home too, because all he's been doing is eating and training. Because everybody knows that Jonathan loves his weights. He don't play when it comes to
Every
his
time she was
weights.
starting Instagram, fucking his back doing that.
Yep.
That was funny.
Time to wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's give a round of applause. Yay!
Shut up, I'm trying to sleep.
Thank you for being our first guest on our
Thanks for
podcast.
having me.
This was better than I thought it was going to be.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm honored to be the first.
It's kind of
It's a roller coaster.
it ended up happy, then it kind of got sad.
She caught me off guard with the.
I wasn't expecting that either, but I'm not emotional, so.
Ended up fine. Alright, well.
Bye.
Check out our Instagrams.
Instagram, make sure you check out the YouTube channel. Make sure you past videos. Make sure you check out episode 6. This will be episode 7 because we're recording 2 today. We're on that grind today.
Yeah.
And also, let's go Heat, man. We're going to Let's go, man. Hey, football season started too.
Let's go Panthers.
Let's go Dolphins.
I don't watch football.
But let's go Heat though. We gonna take that. Let's get it.
She pour out away. I just remind her, put my said she a scholar.